This is Japan Travel Smart. My name's Johnny, and I hope you join me to discover a better Japan travel experience. Welcome back to Japan Travel Smart. This is your travel companion Johnny, and this is journey number 17. We love Japanese hot springs and onsen culture. Japan Travel Smart is a bi-weekly podcast all about the joy of travel through Japan, far and wide, from the perspective of a frequent visitor who just can't get enough of the place that does it best. This is your one-stop shop for the very best of Japan travel, including novel advice and Japan-specific tips to keep you ahead of the game. We cater to first-time and repeat Japan visitors alike in hopes of making the country shine at its very best regardless of interest, budget, or time of year. It's time to dedicate an episode to everything about one of our favorite experiences in Japan travel, and that's Japanese hot springs or onsen. We never miss a chance to visit a hot spring for any Japan trip. Beyond merely being a simple routine of hygiene and relaxation, the Japanese truly have developed bathing customs into a bona fide sacred ritual. This is one of the standout experiences of a visit to Japan, something that we always look forward to on each trip, and something that we truly suggest you do not avoid or skip. On this episode of Japan Travel Smart, we'll cover everything you need to know about the Japanese shared baths experience, from the casual visit to the neighborhood sento to the full-fledged ryokan overnight stay. By explaining the basic process of using a common bathing space and letting you know what to always expect, we hope to give you the confidence that you need to take the plunge on communal bathing culture in Japan. What better way to wind down after an amazing day of sightseeing in Japan than to enjoy a bath in a common bathing space? In more than a few ways a uniquely Japanese practice, communal bathing has a centuries-old history and tradition in Japan. The original hot springs of Japan take advantage of water sources around the many areas of volcanic activity in the country, but it's also possible to enjoy bathing facilities that use regular heated water, available to do really anywhere you are in Japan. On a visit to Japan, where you intend to enjoy onsen-type bathing, you should consider a number of alternatives at your disposal. You may book a standard hotel option featuring a common bathing space to use. You may visit a specialized accommodation facility called a ryokan, where the baths are a core aspect of your stay. You may also visit a local bathhouse, or you may check out what is essentially a spa complex featuring a myriad of bathing and wellness experiences. The important thing to note here is that there are options to experience communal baths even on a tight budget. Don't think that it's necessary to book yourself a night in a fancy ryokan or hotel every time you want to experience common bathing spaces. Let's take us to some of the history of communal bathing in Japan. It has its earliest origin in the religious practice of Buddhism. In this context, bathing was not merely for cleanliness, but as a practice of spiritual purification. Originally, it was temples that featured baths for monks, and that custom gradually spread to the public. In Japan, natural hot springs are called onsen, while public bathhouses are called sento. Sento differs from onsen in that sento just uses heated tap water instead of a natural source of heated water. Sento were already widespread in urban areas in Japan during the Edo period. By the time of the modern Meiji Restoration period, so-called onsen towns started gaining rapid development and started being promoted as a tourism destination for health and wellness. Shared bathing spaces up until that point were in place largely as a communal necessity, and from that point onward, they became more of a luxury or wellness experience. Onsen and other communal bathing setups remain popular today, not only among the Japanese, but now also for visiting foreign tourists. What exactly is a ryokan? Ryokan are generally traditional Japanese inns that offer us a highly authentic lodging experience. Expect to enjoy your stay in Japanese-style rooms complete with sliding doors and tatami mats, as well as being able to sleep in futon beds. Also expect to have a multi-course kaiseki meal for dinner, and of course, bathing in spacious communal baths with hot spring water. The friendly and attentive staff that you'll come to expect at your ryokan stay are a quintessential form of omotenashi, or Japanese hospitality. Our rule of thumb and general recommendation is to be keen to book a night out of your entire stay in Japan at a ryokan inn. In many cases, you'll be glad to know that you won't be paying that much more for a ryokan room than for the equivalent Western-style hotel room. One important difference from Western accommodation, though, is that ryokan stays are charged per person rather than per room. Some ryokan inns are solo traveler friendly, but most of the upscale options officially allow a minimum of 2 people in their entry-level rooms. However, as a solo traveler, you may be able to secure a room even at such ryokan during weekdays of the off-peak season and off the holidays. It all depends on your budget and the experience you want, but you should also know that there are plenty of ryokan in Japan that welcome solo visitors anytime and offer superb rooms for the price. Ryokans, as you might imagine them, may be a traditional Japanese inn with some manner of vintage-style architecture, but in reality, there are quite a few variations of ryokan, including massive ryokan hotels in modern buildings. A ryokan can be a state-of-the-art facility. On the flip side, a ryokan can also be a well-maintained place, while also being obviously dated and decor. A large ryokan hotel will include multiple indoor and outdoor bath options spanning multiple floors, while the smallest family-run ryokan may feature a single small bath that has designated hours for use by males and by females. If you've visited one ryokan, you've visited one ryokan. Ideally, the type of ryokan experience that we recommend looking into should include half board in the rate, including kaiseki-style multi-course dinner, as well as at least one outdoor bath option within the facility. And sauna rooms in the baths are also a great bonus. So you're definitely looking to book at least one night of your trip in Japan to a ryokan inn stay. That's great, but here's something you should keep in mind if you intended to look for an option in a major city. While there are ryokans that you can book in megacities like Tokyo and Osaka, you would really be limiting your options if you didn't instead consider visiting places outside of your choice city, including dedicated hot springs towns. In addition to this, a ryokan stay in a major city like Tokyo would provide you with regular water rather than natural hot springs for bathing. Visiting a dedicated onsen town is the definitive way to experience hot springs culture in Japan. Japan features towns and even cities that serve primarily as resort destinations for hot springs goers. Some onsen towns and areas are extremely popular and renowned with a reputation that precedes them. If you decide to head out to the country for your ryokan experience, expect to find them in scenic areas and situated against sublime backdrops. A classic example are hot springs around the Mount Fuji area, where you can have the imponent fixture in the background. Many onsen towns are tailored towards overnight visitors who stay in, but many others have ryokan where the baths are accessible to non-staying guests as well. This is one way to visit and enjoy the hot springs towns without always having to stay in a ryokan room. A few of the really famous onsen towns of Japan are Kusatsu Onsen in Gunma Prefecture, Kinosaki Onsen in Hyogo, Gero Onsen in Gifu, and Noboribetsu in Hokkaido. But there are hundreds of onsen locations in Japan. And here are some of our personal favorites from around the country. Tsukioka Onsen in Niigata has superb luxury ryokan buildings that will have you looking out towards an idyllic expanse of rice paddies. Sonkyo Onsen in Hokkaido is an alpine-type location in look and feel, nestled at the base of a mountain, ready to welcome trekkers winding down after a day of hiking. Ryuto Onsen in Akita Prefecture consists of a number of very old-school ryokans in a remote location. There's an outdoors onsen featuring a spectacular waterfall backdrop. Finally, staying overnight on the super popular Miyajima Island in Hiroshima Prefecture will allow you to enjoy the island after the day's crowds are gone. In that case, feel free to check out the ryokan on the island for your night's stay, just as we did. As you might be realizing, our favorite onsen locations in Japan all require you to go the distance and hopefully visit them as part of a larger plan for travel around the respective regions. Different hot springs locations in Japan have different compositions and makeups for their water. Some onsen areas are recognized to have a very high sulfur content, and the smell of sulfur may be very noticeable, which is something generally desirable as sulfur in the water is said to improve skin condition. Onsen waters are typically ascribed many beneficial properties and health benefits for using them, based on the composition of substances and minerals in the water. Hot springs culture leans pretty heavily on promotion of health and well-being, and bathing at onsen is honestly so nice and relaxing that you can recognize the subjective benefits from their use, even as placebo. Some onsen areas have unique quirks or gimmicks, such as the black onsen eggs found in Hakone. It's not uncommon to boil regular eggs in hot spring water too. Eggs prepared in this fashion are called onsen tamago. Other popular activities specific to certain onsen town locations include sand baths and foot baths, and of course, strolling around the town in yukatas, which are summer kimono. What other options besides ryokan and dedicated onsen towns are available for you to experience relaxing baths in common spaces? As it turns out, you can also find local bathhouses in pretty much any community in Japan, including, of course, within major cities. This is where sento come into play. Sento is the term used in contrast to onsen. Onsen typically refer to hot springs with water from a natural source. Sento refers to common bathing facilities featuring heated tap water, not strictly from a natural heat source. Local bathhouses are a type of sento that are typically among the most casual and inexpensive options to enjoy a bath in a public space. A local sento is the establishment most likely to exist near you, but you should expect a very no-frills experience. That's why you may want to look into the next option, so long as you're situated in a major city. Super sento are super modern sauna complexes that are loaded with amenities, including on-site restaurants, massage services, relaxation areas, and many, many bath options in modern decor, with hourly or day use plans for access to the facilities. You could even set aside a day to spend at a super sento just to unwind, and super sento often have special hours and discounted plans for early bird or late night and overnight visits. A super sento is a pretty flexible and compelling alternative for things to do on your stay in Japan, and we believe more of you should be looking into them. Last but not least, a Japanese-style bath experience may be available to you without even having to leave your hotel. A lot of standard hotels in Japan have a common-use bath area, optionally available to you in addition to your private bathroom and shower. They are actually a pretty common feature, even in low-cost and business hotels, and we never pass up on the chance to check out and use the common baths at any point during our hotel stay. Actually, it's just a better option to use between that and the tiny standard issue bathtub you'll find in your room. Let's go into detail about what exactly to do to correctly access a communal bathing space. Before you head in, you should be sure to have 2 towels on you. You need a large towel and a small towel. The small towel is for scrubbing your body. The large towel is simply to dry up when you're done. Towels are always provided to you when staying overnight at ryokan or when visiting super sento. Now, the first thing is to make sure you don't enter the wrong gender-segregated bath. The entrances are always clearly labeled, even in English, and, just in case, the curtains are also color-coded blue for men and red for women's baths. You will be entering the changing room and powder room area. You'll be wearing slippers, which you leave behind at this point. You will either see changing lockers or simply racks with baskets on them. Now just pick any unused locker or a basket to unload your clothes onto. Make sure that you leave all of your clothes stored. You must use the baths naked. If you wear glasses, store them now. If you are carrying your phone, it must stay here. Long hair should be tied up. Place your large towel on top of your stored clothes and keep the small towel to take with you into the baths. You can use the small towel to cover yourself as you walk around to access the baths, but keep in mind, it's a really small towel. You might as well stop caring. If you use the storage locker, expect your locker key to be attached to a plastic wristband that you can wear. You take that key into the bath with you, and you can wear it inside the bath and use the baths with the key on you at all times. Now you can enter the next section, which is the proper onsen bath area. Don't get into any bath pools yet. We have to scrub first. Locate the stool shower area and pick an unused faucet to use. You have a stool and a bucket at your disposal in front of each faucet. Sit in front of the mirror and basically take a shower. You have liquid soap, shampoo, and conditioner at your disposal. Use your small towel to scrub your entire body. Use the shower head to rinse, and also use the bucket and faucet to pour water. Make sure to take your time showering. Set everything back up for the next patron to use, including the bucket and stool. Be sure to completely rinse your body and your towel of any excess soap before entering the baths. Pick a bath and enter it slowly. You don't lose your little towel at any point, so you should keep the towel around, but the towel must never touch the onsen water or be submerged in the water. Enjoy the onsen. At this point, a lot of people seem to misunderstand this aspect of using the onsen. You're not meant to stay in piping hot water for a prolonged amount of time. Just stay whatever amount is comfortable, which really shouldn't be more than a few minutes. You can then stand up, pick a different pool to use, stand up again, move around the sauna area, take a seat on a chair, look around, step outside to try the outdoor bath, or use the sauna room or the cold showers, etc., until you're satisfied. And that's the basic process of using a communal bath in Japan. When you're staying at a ryokan hotel, you're usually briefed on the layout of the facility, and you'll be informed of key details like hours of use for the baths. Something to keep in mind is that if the ryokan features diverse themed bath areas, they may alternate for male and female usage depending on a set schedule. You will be provided yukata loungewear and slippers for your stay, which you pick up from your room. The yukata is completely optional for you to wear, but honestly, it makes it much easier to change into and out of when using the onsen baths. Just make sure that you tuck the right flap under the left flap to correctly wear your yukata. If you are large and tall, it's not unusual for large and tall size yukata to be provided. As for the slippers, however, they never seem to be available in large enough size for foreigner feet. We like to pack our own slippers just for that reason. If you're visiting a super sento or certain day use onsen, there may also be locker rooms specifically to change into loungewear from your regular clothes before heading into the bath areas. Finally, if you're only day tripping at a ryokan or visiting a day use onsen, the towels may not be provided. In those cases, small towels should be available for purchase and large towels for rent. I recommend packing your own towel so you don't have to rent and picking up the small towel to keep. Remember, you do need one large towel and a tiny one to properly use onsen baths. Towels will always be provided for overnight stays at ryokan. Let's review some basic terminology related to hot springs in Japan. Onsen is a generic term for Japanese hot springs. In the case of sento, this term applies to places such as bathhouses providing heated water from the tap. A bath that is situated outdoors is called a rotenburo. When the bath is a traditional wooden bathtub, including ones for single use, these are called Ofuro. But there are many possible types of Ofuro. Ashiyu is the term for the shallow baths meant only for dipping your feet. Public ashiyu are often seen around town in onsen towns and are free to use. Yukata is a light kimono wear, and the ryokan is a Japanese-style inn. People often wonder the extent to which having tattoos can be helped for the purpose of wanting to visit and use onsen. Tattoos are taboo in Japan, and most people don't get them. As a general rule, individuals are disallowed from partaking in communal bathing environments if they've got any tattoos. The good news for tattoo havers is that in more recent times, more and more onsen-related businesses have been keen to attract foreigner clientele and relax the no tattoo rule. Be sure to investigate the select but increasing number of tattoo-friendly onsen out there. If your tattoo is small enough to cover with a waterproof bandage, this may be a perfectly acceptable solution to not have to restrict your onsen alternatives. There are also specialized tattoo cover products that you may try, but do make sure that they are effective. We believe that the takeaway here is that your tattoos don't need to be the thing to get in the way of enjoying onsen culture. Once you get past the initial awkward feeling of being naked in the company of strangers, visiting onsen may quickly become your favorite thing in Japan. We really do think so, and we earnestly encourage you to give the experience a try. We hope that the provided background information and an idea of how to do things as we explained it can help do away with any apprehension toward visiting a hot spring on your visit. So, by all means, turn on the boiler and prepare the tub for a nice soak, because a nice hot bath is just what the doctor ordered. Japan Travel Smart is a podcast for Japan travel enthusiasts, first-timers, and experienced alike. For those of you tuning in, despite some of these topics aimed more at beginner travelers, we especially thank you for sticking with us. Speaking of the more experienced among you, did I get something wrong on a previous episode of the show? Please let me know by writing to us at japantravelsmart@gmail.com. Your feedback is appreciated. We'll be back soon with a new Smart to Visit episode where we go into detail and cover a new region in Japan. Until then, my name's Johnny, and I'm signing off with your reminder to, above all, be smart, and everything else will fall in place.